Well, we're pulling into the flea market here. We're going to go inside and see if we can find us anything that we like. They look like in Native American women there. Get you a king tut. We're up here at the flea market. We're getting ready to get out to the cabin in a little bit. Thought we'd look around, look at some neat stuff here. Ooh, looky there. Bub got my walking stick there. People told me that the person they knew that had it was walking in Japan somewhere around Mount Fuji. It's got that sticker for it, and every time they stopped at a post or wherever they were on these trails they were walking, they would stamp it. Right there you see Mount Fuji again. That's true. It's a pretty cool story. I thought I'd buy it because I need a good walking stick.
I didn't even know that was a thing. You walk through Fuji and there's stations.
Yeah, that's what she was telling me.
Yeah, and every time you go through one, you get it stamped.
Yeah.
And they give you little memory things.
Yeah, I was telling her we're going to take it down. I'm going to use it while I hunt arrowheads at the river. Turn rocks over. And
it's pretty cool. I didn't even know that was...
It's pretty neat. That's an awesome find. All right, we got a couple other things. Deer season's approaching. We're going to do some videos out at the farm. I don't know if YouTube will let us put actual videos of us shooting anything on there. I think they got rules, but we'll do a lot of stuff before and after the hunt. I got some 30-06 shells there off an old fella there. 25 bucks. A little bit cheaper than the store, and I'd rather it go in his hands than Walmart's. And we got that walking stick here. I'm dealing with a guy like video games. Me and Bub went in there and I got him a little 2DS we could play on. So we had a pretty good day there at the flea market. Got a new set of boots for the river and a brand new walking stick. That's what brings the deer in. She got her little pink Daisy BB gun. She's gonna try and nail her a squirrel before we get out of these woods today. Bub's got him a 410. I'm hunting with the 20 gauge. We're trying to wrangle something up, shake a couple nests, see what we see. What'd you find?
I don't know if it's just a shell.
He looks like he's still alive. Yeah, his shell's moving. Oh boy, you're late in the game. You need to get underground. We had the first freeze last night. I bet that he was hurting. All right, we're gonna keep moving. We got Rosie here. We're sitting in a little rock overhang. Good place to get out of the rain, isn't it, Rosie? Makes me wonder if any Indians ever set up in here. Probably not. It's a smaller one, and I doubt it was this big back then, but who knows? This could have... All this dirt could have been not in here back then. It could have been a little bit better. What you got?
Rock.
Wow. Pretty cool. Goes back here a little bit. You could lay under it and sit under it, but you can't stand under it.
Unless you're really small.
You get some spider webs.
Yeah.
Pretty cool place. Well, I got to evacuate them out of the cave. We were sitting here playing. They wanted to play a little bit, carve some rocks and have some fun. And we got an old boy sitting there under a rock when we overturned it. I don't know snakes very well, so I'm not going to mess with him because he could very well be poisonous. If you know what that is, leave it in the comments. I'd like to know. I'm going to look it up later, but we're going to get out of here. It's hard to tell if there's any more in here. It's a good dry spot for him for this time of year. He wasn't doing nothing wrong either, so we're going to leave him be. Alright guys, we're back up here in the Plains, Ohio. If you can see on the left here, there's a mound. And this is actually a little mound complex I've showed you in a previous video. Today's video is going to be about some mounds, but it's going to be about some other mounds. We found another one here on my route. I go up through Athens a lot. There's a lot of mounds in Athens. I don't know if I've ever showed this one. I haven't come up into the graveyard and looked at it. We're on the backside of Athens towards Columbus Street. And there's a cemetery here and it's got a mound in the middle. I might try to look it up later. I know what street it's on, but I don't have any information on it. I don't see any markers either. I just thought that was pretty cool to show you. We are in another cemetery, and oddly enough, they're not very creative with these names. It's called Mound Hill. It's a bigger cemetery in Gallipolis. It's an interesting looking gravestone there. We're gonna go up here and see if this is an actual mound or not. There's a little gazebo up here. We'll check it out. All right, we're getting a little bit closer. You can kind of tell there is a raised mound. They built a gazebo and some type of fountain on top of it. They're a very tall mound. It's very wide. GEM. That's kind of neat. I don't see any info. I was hoping there would be an infograph or something like that on it. But I'm sure there's some information online. We'll look it up when we have internet later. There it is. Pretty neat. Now there is another neat part to this cemetery. And that's the view of the Ohio River. You can see right through there, a barge going down the river. See the river going all the way up that way. That's not the river there. That is, I think, a brine lake. It goes kind of dips down through here. It goes out that way, back towards Gallipolis. This is a wonderful view. All right, I was driving down the road and I noticed this sign, Mound Hill. And of course, these names are a dead giveaway for what you're gonna see when you come to one of these places. So I thought, I'll take a 30-second detour and give this place a look and see if it lives up to its name. And I'm glad I did, because right here at the edge of it is a beautiful mound. It actually has some type of monument on top. There's the old church. It even still has the bell up in the steeple. And all around it are graves behind it. We'll go up here and see what this says. Usually you don't want to be climbing on mounds because it'll disturb it, but this actually has some graves on it to look at. Some type of weird ceramics. I don't know what that is. Very neat old bottle. It's been broken. That's sad. Says Warrener, I think, or Warexer. Looks like an X. No, it's an N. It's Warrener. And you can try to make out what that says. I can't read it very well. Then there's this one here. Charles Warrener. Died 1865, October. That's some type of military grave. So there's possibly a Civil War veteran buried on top of this mound. That's pretty neat. And there's the backdrop. There's the church. And there's the mound. That's a pretty cool one. I just kind of stumbled upon that. I wasn't really expecting to find anything today, but didn't hurt to take a little 5-minute stop. So there you go. Well, I was out this way delivering some freight, and I read in the mound book I had about a mound that was down near Pomeroy in the cemetery. A little cemetery called Mounds Cemetery, for obvious reasons. But I figured out where it was. I wanted to get a look at it. We're going to show it to you here in a minute. It's right up there. So there it is. It's kind of in the middle towards the back of the cemetery. That fella there, he's talking to me. He seems like a pretty nice guy. But you see there's graves behind it. There's kind of a recession into the ground around, almost like a moat. There's a sign here. Mound Cemetery mound is a Native American mound built by members of Adena culture that existed in the area during the early woodland period. An archaeological classification ranging from approximately 1000 to 200 BC. Mounds of this type were often used as burial structures or as markers for ceremonial, historical, or community gathering sites. This mound is one of the few such mounds in southeastern Ohio that remains intact, as it has not been excavated by archaeologists or destroyed by looters. This mound was placed on the National Register of Historic Places in 1974. So there you go. Pretty neat one there. We got to see it finally. We get a couple pictures of it. All right. I got Rose and Douglas here. We were going to stop and take a look at this little mound here in Vienna. This is the one I've talked about in a previous video, where a friend, her family had owned the land and house that this was on, and she had thought it was a dirt pile. And one day when I was down at the river, I'd met a guy, and he knows, well, he has a neighbor that's in the local archaeological society, and he said that they had done excavations on this and figured out that it actually was a mound. It's about the same height as Rose, a little bit shorter than her, and probably from the base around, I would say 15, 20 feet. Comes out to about here is where it starts to go down. Douglas, go on that other side and stand. So you can get an idea of how big it is. It's not very big at all, but it's neat that they were able to get this notated and preserved. I thought this was pretty cool. I thought we'd get a little close up I could share with you. I don't know if you can see it out there. I come across this at work today. It looks like there's a mound. It's got some markers, survey sticks in it. We're going to do a little research when we get home, and we're going to see if we can figure out whether or not that is a mound. Well, I stopped and I spoke with the homeowner. They were outside, and they were nice enough to oblige me on a little bit of the history of that mound. I'm in southern Ohio, where I deliver freight, and I was on some back roads about a half a mile away from US 50, maybe 6/10 of a mile, and she told me that US 50 used to be a smaller, I think most of the way was like a 2-lane before I was born, and in the 80s and 90s they developed it a lot, coming up between Belpre, Ohio to Athens as a 4-lane road. And it was originally supposed to go out through by that lady's house, and she said they did a survey on that and found out that it was an Indian mound, and allegedly, to her account, it deviated the path of this 4-lane US highway by about a half of a mile, because it's about that far out that same road. She said it was supposed to go right through there on her property, and they decided to forego that. So it's just kind of a neat little piece of history there. You know, it's anecdotal, take it for what it is, but it's kind of neat to think that that Indian mound altered the course of this highway here that we're on, and they were smart enough to preserve that. So that's pretty cool.